Hello everyone and welcome. Today we are looking at the major developments in the North Cyprus during the first months of 2026. The beginning of the year has been quite active. There have been political debates, economical challenges, rising prices, infrastructure projects, and even growing geopolitical tensions around the island. The government declared the year of 2026 the year of the project implementation, promising that many projects discussed previous in recent years will finally move to action. But at the same time, the residents are dealing with the high living costs, energy problems, and the political disagreements about the country's future. Prime Minister Naustal announced that 2026 should become the year when the major developments projects are finally implemented. According to the government's priorities includes new infrastructure, healthcare projects, road construction, tourism, investment, and economical development. However, the political climate remains tense. The parliament recently rejected a proposal for early elections, which had been suggested by opposition. Opposition parties continue to criticize the government over economic issues and the rising cost of living. One of the important and the biggest economic stories this year is the budget deficit of the North Cyprus 2025. According to the central bank, the country ended 2025 with a deficit of about 15 billion Turkish lira, and which is more than 50% higher than the previous year. We have to say that government revenues increased, especially from taxes and financial support from Turkey. However, government spending increased even faster. Economists say that situation shows growing financial pressure on the state. For many residents, the biggest issues is the rising cost of living. During the first months of 2026, the prices increased in the several areas. Water tariffs were raised after adjustment of the cost of water supplied from Turkey. Municipalities also updated their own local regulations or local water prices. Gas cylinders prices also increased again, reached about 610 Turkish lira. Fuel prices rose as well, affecting transportation costs and many other sectors of the economy. Restaurant owners also warned that businesses are struggling to compete with the restaurants on the southern side of the island due to rising costs. Another controversial issue is the vehicle fees and the traffic fines. Parliament approved changes to the law on motor vehicles and road traffic. The amendment includes higher fees for the vehicle registration, road taxes, and inspections. Opposition politicians criticized the decision, saying it will increase final pressure on the citizens. Meanwhile, Transport Minister Erhan Araklı spoke about another issue, very high fines for using a mobile phone while driving. The current fine is around 51,000 Turkish lira, that's equal about 1,000 euro, which he said may be too high for the current economic conditions. He also relieved that the police currently have about 100,000 traffic fines that were never been delivered to the drivers due to technical and administrative issues. Some drivers may receive several fines at once and risk losing their driving license immediately. The government is now discussing the possible solutions, including adjustments to the penalty system. Energy supply has also been a major challenge. Northern Cyprus experienced the electricity shortages and the power outages during the peak demand periods. Energy consumptions reached around 465 megawatts, while production capacity was lower. The Energy Workers Union, LSEN, criticized the state electricity authority KipTech, saying the crisis is the result of the years of underinvestment and the poor management. But we have to mention that despite economic difficulties and several infrastructure projects are moving ahead, the government has presented a development plan that includes new hospitals, road improvements, municipal infrastructure projects, One of the positive indicators is the performance of the Aegean airports, which handles about 5.7 million passengers in 2025, that generated nearly 2 billion Turkish lira in payments to the state budget. Municipalities are also investing in local infrastructure. The capital Lefkoşa, about 1 billion Turkish lira, will be invested in the road repairs, parks, and urban developments. New sport facilities, schools, and agricultural infrastructure projects are also underway in the several regions. Northern Cyprus is also introducing the new digital systems. The Minister of Economy launched EcoSepeti, a digital platform that allows residents to compare supermarket prices in the real time. The system currently tracks the prices of the thousands of products across major stores. In healthcare, a new online hospital appointment system allows patients to book visits through the e-government portal. The government is also developing a national digital database for the geographic and infrastructure data. In Famagusta, public transportation has been integrated with the Google Maps, making it easier for people to plan trips. Healthcare developments also seen several new initiatives. In Famagusta, the first preventive mental health center has been opened. The center provides physiological support and early intervention services. Public hospitals are also transitioned to full-day operations to reduce waiting time. New diagnostic equipment has also been introduced in some hospitals to improve medical services. Environmental initiatives are also being introduced. The government launched a national tree planting campaign called Green Cyprus Again. The goal is to improve environmental sustainability and increase forest coverage across the islands. Municipalities are also working on the programs to manage the population of stray animals. In Famagusta, the veterinarians sterilized and vaccinated hundreds of stray cats and dogs. Plans are also being discussed to create a large national shelter for the stray animals. Cultural life has remained active as well. The Presidential Symphony Orchestra opened its new concert season. At the same time, historical preservation projects continue. More than 180 historical buildings and monuments have been restored on the island since 2008. However, one incident caused controversy. A 125-year-old historical building in Alsancak was demolished despite its protected heritage status. Authorities say that the case is now under investigation. And finally, we come to one of the most sensitive topics of the recent few weeks: growing geopolitical tension around the Cyprus. Reporting began circulating about possible missile and drone activity near Cyprus, raising concerns about security in the eastern Mediterranean, a region that has already been experiencing increasingly political and military tensions. However, the Iran's Minister of Foreign Affairs officially denied reports that attacks has been launched from Iranian territory towards Cyprus, Turkey, and Azerbaijan. Officials in Tehran stated that such claims are false and warns that they could be part of provocations or misinformation aimed at destabilizing the region. At the same time, Turkey confirmed the deployments of F-16 fighter jets and a defense system in Northern Cyprus, saying the move was intended to strengthen the security and protect Turkish Cypriots. The government of the Republic of Cyprus strongly criticized the decision, describing it as a political signal from Ankara and expressing concern about the growing military presence on the islands. Adding another dimension to the situation, Azerbaijan parliament member Javashis Feyziyev made a strong statement supporting the security of the North Cyprus. He emphasizes that the region holds strategic importance for the Turkic words, suggesting that the stability of the North Cyprus is closely connected to a broader regional alliances. All of these developments show that the Cyprus issue is increasingly linked not only to internal politics on the islands but also to wider geopolitical dynamics across the Eastern Mediterranean. The first months of 2026 in North Cyprus are already showing two very different realities. On the one side, the government is pushing forward with the major projects, new infrastructure, healthcare improvements, digital systems, and development plans. On the other side, the country is still facing rising prices, energy shortages, budget pressure, and ongoing political debates. And all of this is happening while the regional tensions around Cyprus continue to grow. If you found out this overview useful, don't forget to support this video with the likes, comments, and see you at the next edition. Thank you.